Hey everybody, I am going to try it from my phone again. If it starts glitching, I will stop and restart it, and I just feel like I have a little more leeway with it from my phone. So we'll see how this works. If it doesn't work good, then we will do something different. All right. Welcome. It is Thursday night, October the 29th. I'm Brenda Sellers, a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator. And this is welcome to workshop number 2 of my Christmas card classes. Thank you for joining me. Sorry about that little bit of glare on that paper trimmer there. It looks like it did glitch. Let me see if it's going to keep doing that. All right. Again, I'm Brenda Sellers, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Tennessee. Thank you for joining me for workshop number 2. I have 4 cards laid out ready for us to work on. We're going to start with a fun and sassy little card. Snowmen have always been my favorite little guys. So tonight we are going to start with snowman season, and we're going to build us a little snowman. So tonight we are I got my inspiration from Cindy Brumbaugh of Cindy Lee B Designs. Found her card on Pinterest, and so let's start. We are going to use Pool Party as our card base, and that is cut at 5.5 by 8.5. Let me pull my papers over here a little closer to me. Got them across my desk. If you saw how large my desk is, you would see that I am stretching and you can see the shadow a little bit, so you know what's going on here. All right, I've got them a little closer, and now we won't be stretching. So here is our pool party. There is my cutting blade. I've already got the paper cut for this one, so let's just pull it in here and score it at 4 1/4. Leave that one up there, and let's score that. All right, now let's lay our paper trimmer out of the way. Score this. And while I'm working, I'll tell you about our little promotions for the card class. If you use the host code that will be posted in the comments or in the description of the video tonight, and your order you use the host code and your order reaches $35, you will receive all of the materials cut, scored, ready for you to stamp to make all 4 cards tonight, with the instructions, the PDF instructions, all ready to your house. So place you a $35 order and I'll send them to you. All right, and then we are going to use a piece of basic black. It is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and it's going to layer on the card front. I've got that just up out of there. I pulled it back into the view. It's going to go right there. And then I can go ahead and put that on there so it is out of the way, so those pieces are together. I turned it over like that has a front and a back, you know. Our cardstock is magic, and it does have a front and a back when you're stamping, so that if you mess up on one side, you've got the other side to stamp on. But when you're putting adhesive on a piece of cardstock and it's not got any stamps on it, it doesn't matter which side you stamp or which side you put adhesive on. So I've got a pretty much of a good size border all the way around that. So now that piece is ready to lay up there. And then I'm going to take a piece of basic white that is 3 1/4 by 5. And that is what we are going to build our design on. So I'm going to lay it there, and I'm going to pull in a piece of basic white to stamp on, because that's how we're going to build our little snow guy. And we're going to use our punch, the Snowman Builder punch. All right, and I am going to use our black Memento ink. I'm going to stamp him and then punch him out. Let me look at the bottom of the, okay. Put him in that way, okay. I need to stamp him 3 times, but if you see on the punch, it's got the hat and the nose and the arms. So I need to leave enough space that it's going to punch those things out. I don't need them for this card, so, but I still need to leave enough space so that it doesn't run into my little guy as I punch him out. There we go. I need to grab my Stampin' Chamois so I can clean him off. We don't want any stray snowmen stamped anywhere. All right, and when I go to punch on punches like this, I turn it over so that I can see exactly where I'm punching. So that gives me a good outline of him or her, of our little snow guy. And I do need to save a couple of those arms. Turn that over and collect that hat out of there. There's a nose. I don't need that. Toss it over here. This is going to give me another little arm. And another little hat. Okay, I have 3 snowmen. I have 3 arms. 3 hats. I don't need the hats right now for this card. I do need 1 more arm, so I'm just gonna punch it right there. And then I can lay that piece to the side. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper trimmer, scissors, snips, And I am going to cut off the top part of this snowman. Because that's going to go right there. And then I'm going to cut off the head part of this one because we're building him as he goes across the card. And then there he is. And you could use those pieces for something else, but I don't really need them right now. And I am guilty of hoarding stuff, so I'm not going to do that this time. I am going to save one of the little hats and use it. Find the hat stamp. All right, I am going to see if I can very carefully stamp the arms on this. We'll see if I can. Ooh, that's hard. I think I did, though. Nope. Not so much. That did not work. So, we're going to do it the easy way. We are going to stamp our arms. 1, 2. Yep. 3. And 4, and then we're going to punch. The other way was just way too hard. If you had all night to stand here and do that, go right ahead. Or the patience. I don't have the patience to do that today, and that's totally okay. So you just, again, line them up in the paper punch. Just like that. There's one arm. Two arms. And I need to trim some of this off so I can get the punch closer. If you're catching this on the replay, hit the likes or the hearts, however you desire. Trim that again so that I can get the punch closer. Get the arm out of there. And there's our other arm. Well, there it is. Okay, now for this little guy, we are going to use our light pumpkin pie blend, and give his nose a little bit of color. There we go. So let's start using some dimensionals and get that on the card. And I know I just had some dimensionals. There they are. Actually, let's see. Want them like that. And I'm going to use some of the Pool Party blends, and I'm going to make it be a little bit of, looks like it, there's some snow on the ground here. You can do it however you want to give it a little bit of dimension on your ground. I started with the light, and now let me get the darker color. Oh, yep, that's much better. That way it looks like they're sitting on something and not kind of just floating in the air. But again, snowmen have been my favorite little people for a long time. And I feel like that's kind of strange because I don't like cold weather. But I guess if it has to be cold, it needs to produce some snow, right? Okay, now let's get some dimensionals. He can have 2 on the back of him to hold him up good. Gonna set him right there. Hope you can see this pretty good. Gonna kind of center this one on the card. There we go. Give him one in the body and then one on the top of his little head. That way when it goes to the mail and if it happens to go through a machine and it gets a little flattened, it'll still have some little support behind him. And there, it looks like we've just built our snowman. Okay, get the backs for the dimensionals out of my way. Now for let's finish stamping. I'm gonna get the words that say "Let it snow," and I'm going to stamp that right up here in our black memento. There we go. And then I'm going to use Pool Party and these cute little snow bursts. And this is a tap, tap, tap kind of thing. You don't want to get it too inky or mushy. And I'm going to put one right there. And I'm going to put one right there. And one right there. Kind of draws your eye up the side of the card. And now I'm going to go ahead and put this on the card, and then we'll finish building it, or add the little arms in just a second. Pull this back in, layer this on our basic black layer. Just about like that. There we go. Grab some of our rhinestones and use our Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to put some smaller rhinestones in the center of those bursts. The putty end works really great. You just, if you haven't used a Take Your Pick tool, it's got a little bit of putty in there, and you just put it up against the rhinestone and you push it and it slides it off, and then it holds it right on the end of the tip of your Take Your Pick tool. And then you can place it on your card right where you want to put it. Okay, now we've got our bling. So lay that to the side. Now for his little arms, I'm going to use a little dot of the multi-purpose glue. It doesn't need a whole bunch, because you don't want it to get sticky out from underneath there. And it looks like I need to get one that has a little more in it than that one does. Just going to kind of lay it up under there. Oh, come off on my finger. That is not what it was supposed to do. There we go. Oh, and I need 2 more. How did I forget? I need 6 arms because I had 3 parts of a snowman. All right, still have the arm on a block. 1 and 2. And the punch is real handy, so let's there are 2 arms in the stamp set, so you could lay them side by side and stamp them and punch them all out at the same time together, but again, you have to line them up just right, and I wasn't taking the time to do that tonight. All right, multi-purpose glue. Pull that back in, and now we're ready to give our grown guy some arms. So my special will be, again, like I was talking, from if you place a $35 order, I will send you all of the materials to make all 4 cards, 2 of each, but you need to place your order by November the 1st. And so you'll have material cut, like all the cardstock will be cut and prepped, ready for you to just stamp. You'll have an extra sheet of, not a full sheet, but you'll have enough material to make this card twice, plus the other 3 cards that I'm going to show you how to make tonight, and the tutorial, the PDF with the instructions written on it. If you place a $50 order, I will send you the material to make all 4 cards, 2 of each, and some of these subtle glimmer sequins that we're going to use on our cards tonight as well. So how's that for a deal? But you have to use the host code that I'll be sharing as well. So we're not done with this card. So on the inside of this card, we have another piece of basic white that is cut 4 by 5 1/4, and we are going to use one of the other little snow guys or gals. The hat back there. Use this block. This little one that's got all kinds of fun and festivity things going on around him. I tend to lay my stamps down, face down, and then put the block on top of them. It just makes them easier to get a hold of. And then I also want to use the word, hoping the season, I can't read it on the stamp. Hoping the season builds heartwarming memories. So lay that right there, get that block, and lay it there. All right. Let me put some of this, clean some of these other little blocks off so we've got them for the next go around. Just take me just a second. That way, okay, just missing the arm. All right. Anytime you're going to color with the Stampin' Blends, you need to use the Memento ink. Our Stampin' Blends are alcohol based. And so they won't run when you use the Memento ink. All right. Going to stamp this down here in this corner. Cute little guy. There we go. As black as that was, it cleans off very well. That stamp set over there. Our ink block. Stamp block, not ink block. Then I'm going to stamp the greeting in our pool party. And remember, with our pool party, with our ink, classic ink, it's tap, tap, tap. You don't want to smush and you don't want to rock it back and forth. And I'm going to stamp this down in this, on this side right here. There we go. that's got the stamping done. And Stampin' Up! Has those printed on one of the pieces of acetate, so you know if you're missing a piece of your stamp set or not. All right, now I'm going to grab our light pumpkin pie and color his nose. I'm going to use the bullet tip of it because it's a little smaller. There we go. These are blends, but that's such a small area. There's not enough to blend anything there. So then I'm going to grab the light pool party, the bullet tip, and I'm just going to color some of these little stripes on his scarf. I don't know why my snowmen are guys tonight. I guess that's all right. That's hard to see. Let's get the darker one and add a little bit more color. There we go. That's much better. Much, much better. Let's add a little bit of color on his hat too, on the very top of it. All right, and then I'm going to use the smoky slate and color the little rocks over here. And his little buttons. That just gives it a little extra zing. All right, and then I'm gonna get the Wink of Stella, and I'm going to add a little sparkle to the snowman. Because snow sparkles, right? I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but I can kind of tilt around in the lighting here and I can see where I've got it on there. Careful not to get it on the scarf because scarves don't sparkle unless it's got little glitter in the fabric. All right, while I'm letting that piece dry, let's see if you can see it in the camera. Focus. Yeah, I think you can. There you go. So I'm going to lay that to the top and let it dry, and then I'm going to add some Wink of Stella to our front of the card, to the snow guys and gals, to the snowballs. How about that? All right, last snowballs, which is on our snow guy, our gal, snow person. there. I think that just gave them an extra little touch. Nice little touch. Because snow sparkles. There we go. Can you see the glitter? And Wink of Stella is a very nice way of playing with glitter without getting glitter all over everything and wearing it for days. Okay, so while we're letting that do what it needs to dry, I'm going to pull in the inside of our card, and I'm going to turn this piece over, put some adhesive on it, and get it ready to go on the middle or the inside. And I must have some adhesive on my, I do, a little piece. There we go. All right, and then just center it up down there. There we go. Hold on just a second. This is a adhesive eraser, and let's see if that'll pull that off and without leaving a mark. It did. And then I've got it off of my grid paper. So there's card number 1. So now let's start with card number 2. And thank you very much again to Cindy Lee B Designs, Connie Richter, who I got my inspiration from. So now let's move on to card number 2. And that came from PS Paper Crafts. And I don't see her name on my paperwork over here. But anyway, again, it's snowmen. It's snowmen. So, but this one also uses our designer series paper that is called Peaceful Place, which I've been using with the cabins that I've been doing. So let me pull in a set of that. So need to get our paper trimmer out and score it. I cut the paper last night, didn't have time to score. It's just been a very busy weekend. So it is what it is, and we are here. So this is basic gray, cut at 5.5 by 8.5. And then I'm going to layer a piece of that beautiful designer series paper on a piece of basic white that is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So let's go ahead and put that down. This is going to have a very narrow border around it. Like very narrow border. I'm used to working with a little bit bigger border. So usually a trick I've learned, or trying to learn, is if you start in one of the corners and kind of get it lined up, it will work all the way around your card. There we go. And then our Peaceful Place Designer Series paper, I'm going to use this piece because it's already got some of the foil accents in there. Can you see that glittery? The back the back of it is this pretty check. I like that too, but I like those glitter effects in there. And this is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. So let's go ahead and put it on the card as well. And again, it has a very narrow border. There we go. And then we have 2 strips of designer series paper from the same pack. That's off of one of the pieces that has trees on it, so the bottom parts of it's white. So we're just going to use the part that's got some design. And I'm going to put a piece of it about right there. And one from that side. I'll slide it down a little bit. There we go. Make sure I still got it in about the right spot. Above my finger. All right, the layers are done. I'm going to go ahead and stamp on this, and it's going to be our little festive guy or snow guy person. Looks like I've used that one quite a bit. Anytime you use the red ink, it stains it, but it still stamps very clear. All right, we're going to use that block and that block. So I'm going to go ahead and get Memento ink. I'm going to stamp this kind of close to the top. That way I know where the top of my paper is. There we go. And then Let It Snow is going to go right down here below that. Just like that. And then I'm going to color in his nose with dark pumpkin pie, and I'm going to use the bullet tip. And I'm going to use the smoky slate to color in some of the stones or snowballs that it looks like he's juggling. Guess there could be rocks on the ground, right? And then I'm going to adhere this to the small piece of basic gray. Just like that. I'm going to grab some dimensionals. Let's add a couple more Give it some support in the middle. Take those backs off. Put it up right there. Then I'm going to get some of these little sequins. Ooh. Looks like I need to get some glue dots. Be right back. They're over here on this other desk. Kind of rolling it a little bit to make it smaller. I'll put one right there. Didn't work like I wanted it to. We're using dots of liquid glue. So, let's get the sequin that we want. One. I'm afraid it's going to squirt out. There we go. And pick another sequin out of here. There we go. I'll stay on the take your pick tool. It just needs a tiny, tiny bit on the end of it. These would make great little additions to a shaker card too. For those of you who like to do shaker cards. Well, I don't want it adhered to my desk. There we go. Straight line. Scoot over. There you go. About as straight as that line's going to get. Let's clean the tip of that off so we can use it a little bit better next time. Okay. So there is that card with another cute little snow guy. Because that card base is dark, we need to put a piece of Whisper White, not Whisper White, Brenda, it's Basic White, on the inside. So let me lay that to the top. Grab my trimmer, 5 1/4 by 4. You can stamp on the inside, or you can just leave it blank for you to write as much of a greeting as you would like. And because I rolled that with my fingers, I had adhesive on my thumb. There we go. Okay, so there's card number 2. Now, let's move on to card number 3. Thank you, Paper Crafts, PS Paper Crafts, for that cute little design. This one is going back to my, probably, I know right now it is my favorite stamp set of all time, the Peaceful Cabins. I love that stamp set. I was kind of leery. It's like, what can you really make with it? It's like the same design over and over and over again. But let me tell you, there are so many different things I have been able to do with that one stamp set. I've stamped on cork. I've stamped on Basic White. I've stamped made different cards. I've used different designer series paper with it. I'll pull some of those in here in a minute and show you. But again, it is one of my all-time favorite card sets or stamp sets, this Peaceful Cabins. So if you don't have it, I highly recommend getting it. I mean, it does look like it's got a little snow there, but again, if it's going to be wintertime, it's going to be cold outside, you may as well have some snow piled up, right? Okay, so let's get busy on this one. We are going to use a piece of the designer series paper from the Peaceful Place Specialty Designer Series paper. Again, it's the same designer series paper that this paper came from. This side has the foil accents. That side is just plain, or no foil accents. It's not plain. And we're going to trim this side down to fit on our card front. And our card base is Basic Black. This piece of designer series paper actually comes, they all come as a 12 by 12, but this one comes as 4 sections, like a card like that. And I've already used one piece of it. So we're going to use another piece of it. So let me score this at 4 1/4. And then I need to decide, let's see, I'm going to cut that so that, make sure that it's all in my frame so you can see. I want the majority of this paper, this big tree and these little trees. So I'm going to cut it 5 1/2 this way. Actually, I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4. I cut 1/4 of an inch. Let me pull my paper trimmer up here. Let's cut 1/8 of an inch off over here. And then 1/8 of an inch off over here to make it be 5 1/4. That piece I can save. This other little piece is trash. And then it needs to be 4 inches high. And I'm going to take part of this off here because that way the very tippy top of the tree touches the top of the card. Let's cut a little bit more off. And then make this so now that's 5 1/4 by 4 this way. And there we go. And then we can use that piece or the back of it for other cards. Okay, that's how you trim your designer series paper to fit your card. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on our card base. Wish I knew what I did with my silicone mat. So I could quit getting adhesive on my fingers. All right, there is that. Now I'm going to use a piece of basic white and I'm going to stamp our cabin. That's too small, so it needs this one. In Memento ink. Because that's a bigger stamp, I'm going to turn it over and do it this way. Slide that right there. And then I also would like I'm going to cut out the fence. So I'm going to stamp the fence. Right there. And I want the fox. And I think that's it. So let's stamp the little fox right there. and put the lid on that and get our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I need the dies that go with this. Let me lay that right there. Some of my friends might say I've about used this stamp set and dies to death, but I just don't hardly think so. Let's do the cabin first. Set that up here while I'm doing that. I'm going to lay that right there, and then I'm going to use a piece of Post-it note to hold the cabin, to hold the die in place. There we go. And then while I'm running it through, may as well run the fox through. Get another Post-it note. That'll hold that. And the fence. So if you layer it on your card just right, you can run it through with one swipe. And all of the Post-it notes will hold your pieces in place. So they're on the little sandwich for the mini cutting and Stampin' Emboss machine. So this piece tells me I need this platform 1, and then I need 2 pieces, which is the cutting plates, and then that one on top, and get it going through. Then I can set that out of the way. Grab me a drink of water. Okay, and then just start peeling those away. There's our fence. Here's the one with our little fox. And here's the one with our cabin. Yes, I know that it's bigger and I don't want it that big, so I'm going to use our paper trim scissors, and I'm just going to freehand it around this part. And there we go. Now pull in our card, and I'm going to put our fence piece right here. I'm going to lay it down flat, so I'm going to put a little bit of our multi-purpose glue behind it, or on the back of it. You just need a little line. You don't want it to smush out on the sides or the edges. I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to put our cabin up on dimensionals. For some reason, the backs already want to come off of my dimensionals. I'm going to cut a little edge off of one of these so that I can fit it right here, so that that end piece is held up. Okay, then I'm going to put our cabin like right here. Our fox is going to get a little piece of a dimensional behind him. He just needs a thin piece. Here we go. Because he's little. And he's going to be running through the field over here. And now to stamp our sentiment, we're going to say, may you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season. It's going to go right there. And we are going to use let's see if I can find them real quick. I don't know where they're at. Oh, found them. Tasteful Labels dies. So let me, whoops, crash. And that cabin still had ink on it. So my rhinestones now have ink on them. That's okay. It didn't get on a card, so we're all good. We use this piece of basic white. There we go. Let's clean this one. And pull back in our mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. People are going Oopsie, I thought I turned that off. All right, let's layer that on here. Get it the way you want it. And that's the beauty of being able to stamp first and then center your sentiment inside your label. Then grab one of your Post-it notes and hold it in place. And then make your sandwich and run it through your machine. Your mini boss. Oh, let's put a lid on that ink pad. We don't want another accident. There we go. Now, dimensionals. One in the middle. And this is going to go right up here. And there is a very pretty monochromatic card. And again, because it's black on the inside, we need to cut a piece of basic white. I should have a stack of these already cut. I will work on that this weekend. So I don't have to keep doing this every time. Just grab one. 5 1/4. Lay that to the side by 4. And on this one, I'm going to get the trees. And I'm going to stamp 2 trees right there. And I'm going to stamp them in black. That way it kind of pulls the whole card together. And you can decorate your envelope the same way. There we go. And then there we go. Finished card. I love that card, and you can see the sparkle glimmery inside there. All right, now for our last card. That one was from playing with paper crafting. Okay. This one is a little bit more involved, not much. I looked on her blog, and I love the way she did it. She did simple stamping, and she did step it up. So what she did is she did a very basic card, and then this step is one step up, and then her next is another step up. Hi, whoever joined me. it's good to have you. I've just been crafting and talking to myself. So far I've made 3 cards. This is a fun and playful one. Can you see the little glimmers in there? Snowmen have to have glimmers or shimmeries. And then he has shimmeries, a little shimmery friend on the inside. And then here's his little buddy on this one using the Designer Series paper. And then I just finished this card and I'm getting ready to do our last card. And so let's pull it in and get busy. So it is using Smoky Slate cardstock. Let's lay that over there. Score it at 4 1/4. And we're gonna lay it to the top of our paper. And then when I was cutting, I just cut enough for 2 cards. So let me divide all my stuff up here so I don't trip myself up. Okay, I can go back over there. So this can go on the card. And that's the one we're going to stamp on. And, okay. But first, let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment and our cabins. So let's get our Memento ink back out and ink up our cabin. And it's going to go about kind of in the middle. About right there. And then I need a piece of basic white to stamp the cabin on so that we can create a mask. That will work. Okay. And now I'm ready to clean him off so he doesn't fall on anything again and get any messies. And I need the big block. All right, he's ready to go away for tonight. Then we're going to put the trees on here. Right now, I'm going to find our sentiment. We're going to use your kindness makes the world a more beautiful place to be. I'm going to get the big long block. I'm going to stamp it on this one. So that most of our stamping will be done. Perfect. That will probably never, ever, ever happen for me again. Won't hold my breath. It might. It just doesn't happen very often, so I get shocked every time it does. All right, so we're good with those pieces. Now I'm going to pull the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine back in. We're making our mask, and what that means, I'll show you in just a second. cut this out. Grab my piece of Post-it note to hold him in place. Lay that there, goes there, over there so I don't lose them. Okay, so now what you do is this one just simply lays over top of this one, and then I get a piece of our Post-it note that is going to hold it in place good and won't allow it to move. And then I'm going to grab this tree stamp and our Memento ink. Ink it up really good. And I just want the tops of the trees to peek out behind the cabin. And this is how you do it. There we go. And then we take this piece off and we put it on the inside of our stamp case so we don't have to keep doing that every time we want to do that. And then we get the little things that look like little snowflakes. That goes on the inside so we don't lose it. And our little block and a piece of scrap because I don't want to and we stamp off twice and then once. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It just gives it a little bit lighter color there. Let's do it one more time over here to kind of fill it in. I think that's good. Yep, we're good. And then now we are ready to assemble our card. Let's pull the pieces back down. Let's go ahead and turn this over. So see, I kind of saved what could potentially be the hardest card for last, but it's not really hard. Just simple masking. So you learned a little technique tonight. Let's go ahead and put this one on the card front. go. This sentiment gets centered on there. And then it goes right here. Just like that. And then we get some more of our cute little shimmer sequins. And our take your pick tool. When I touch the tip of it with the glue, it wants to come off on the glue tip. Now put it back on the take your pick tool. Let's put one right there. Oh, that's not the right side of that one. Let's try not to touch it this time. Well, touched it. Lay it on your take your pick tool. Put it up here in these little stars or snowflakes that are falling. It's probably not the best way to do those, but it's working. And now I've got it upside down on, oh, that's the putty or the paddle side. So let's see if that'll work. There we go. Let's put one over here. Just not confident enough to do it, flip it with my fingers, because I'm afraid I'll put it where I don't want it. And then needs to be an odd number, so let's get one more. And put it right there. There we go. Okay, let me put lids on things, and then I will clear off our space right here and bring back in our cards that we created tonight. And you can tell me which one or ones you like the best. The cabins or our snow friends. Oh, that's not going to work. Here, let's do it this way. There. And I will cut a piece of paper to go on the inside of that one. All right, so that's the 4 cards. Again, the special is if you place an order of $35, I will send you the materials, the consumables to make 2 of each of these cards. And you can't see the bottom of this one. Let me... because that's one of my favorite ones. Of course, I like them all. Okay, let's hear. Is the snow guys, our snow friends. And then here is the cabins. So again, the special is if you place an order using the host code that I will put in the description of the video, you'll get the consumable, the materials to make 2 of each of these cards. You have to use the host code. If your order reaches $50, you'll get the consumables plus the PDF, which you'll get that with a $35 order, and one of these little things of Subtle Shimmer Sequins. And there's a ton of those little sequins in there. It says about 800 pieces. There's 3M and 4M. So that's a lot of sequins. So again, use the host code. Get the deals. get the deals. And I will be happy to send you the consumables and the PDF. And I will also be sharing this over on my YouTube channel so that our friends over there can see it. Hope you've had a good night. This took me a little bit longer tonight than I expected, but you got to see a little bit more. We learned how to do masking on this card. You got to see how we use the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We built a snowman, and I had fun. I hope you had fun. And we played with Minka Stella. So have a great night, everybody. I hope to catch you on my Facebook Lives, and I will see you again soon. Remember, the next Christmas card workshop is November the 9th, which is on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Hopefully it won't be this long. So I will catch you again soon. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.